everyone. So in this video we are going to talk about myths around mental health therapies. Now, before digging deeper into the myths, let's first talk in brief about mental health. Mental health, as defined by WHO, is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his community. Coming on to the myths, what could be the biggest reason for these myths surrounding mental health therapies? So, the most common reason people avoid seeking the help of a therapist is the belief that it will mean they are weak, incapable of solving problems on their own, or that they are simply crazy. People often are afraid of how they would feel if others saw them this way, namely worthless, flawed, or unlovable. But the reality is that the majority of people in therapy are ordinary, everyday people dealing with ordinary, everyday problems. So now, let's come to our main topic for discussion, that is, let's together debunk some myths around mental health therapies. Myth 1. My problems aren't serious enough for therapy. Many people believe that the challenges they are facing are routine, normal, and should be handled without outside help, and everyday problems like social anxiety or insomnia would look pale in comparison. But the reality is that there is always someone with problems worse than us, and that doesn't mean we should suffer for it. There is no trauma threshold that must be met to qualify for psychotherapy. All we need is an open mind and a willingness to honestly confront truths about our life. Myth 2. A therapist will force me to discuss things I don't want to talk about. Many people have serious anxiety about opening up to a stranger. It's a reasonable concern. After all, we wouldn't spill our life story on a first date. So why would we feel comfortable sharing our intimate thoughts with the therapist we just met? But the good news is that an experienced therapist may push us towards uncomfortable topics, but will never force us to talk about things we are not ready to discuss. Therapy is about trust, and it takes many sessions to build the kind of foundation necessary to confront deep issues. Myth 3. I can fix my problems on my own. Books, apps, podcasts, documentaries, and other tools can indeed help people confront their issues, but there are limits on just how deep these self-help tools can go. Without the guidance of a professional therapist who is familiar with our goals, we may find ourselves stuck in old patterns. While it's true we likely can fix many of our problems on our own, a therapist can help us through them. The ultimate form of self-help therapy starts when a person recognizes that they can't do it all by themselves. Therapy doesn't need to replace the books and apps we have found helpful, just consider it as another self-tool arsenal. Myth 4. Therapy is too expensive. While healthcare of any kind can indeed be expensive, therapy is usually more cost-effective than we might expect. If we want to pursue therapy, chances are good that there is an affordable option available. It's also helpful to reframe psychotherapy as a medical cost rather than a personal splurge. Many of us wouldn't think twice about shelling out for medication or surgery. Rather than lumping therapy costs in with our coffee or wardrobe budget for the month, see it as what it actually is, an investment in our mental health. Myth 5. I don't need therapy, my friends are my therapists. While it's true that a conversation with a friend can be very therapeutic, those kinds of chats can take a toll on a relationship. Rather than burden friends who are not trained to handle the complexities of our past, why not work with an expert instead? Therapists can provide many of the same benefits a great chat with a friend does, but their experience and education can help deepen the conversation. Rather than touching the surface of the challenges in our lives, therapists will dig further into our history and help us make connections between our current choices and the ones that will serve us better in the future. Myth 6. Therapists give advice. This common misconception about therapy may dissuade someone from seeking help because they fear being told what they should do. Therapists are not mind readers or fortune tellers, and most will refrain from offering their clients concrete life advice. Instead, therapists utilize their training and expertise to help their clients feel more empowered to make their own healthy and thoughtful choices in order to lead more fulfilling and productive lives. Myth 7: Therapy is a quick fix. This is a very common misconception that the therapist will tell individuals what their problems are and how to fix them. But the fact is that therapy is not a quick cure. Rather, it is a process that the individual undertakes with the therapist. The therapist is there for the individual to jointly explore his concerns, examine options, and help the client find the answer that best works for them. With this, we come to the end of our video, debunking myths around psychotherapy. These myths will persist, but as our society becomes more aware of our biases, we open up to the possibilities that mental health care provides. Going to therapy is in fact an indication of emotional maturity, an indication that a person can accept that he needs the help or guidance of another and is willing to do what is necessary to take care of himself. If you or anyone around you has been avoiding therapy for any of these reasons, consider this as your sign to make an appointment today. Remember, it's unapologetically okay to not be okay. Thank you.